We gotta reload because there was no audio. We gotta reload because there's no audio. I wonder if it's all, I wonder if it's all crazy. Internet! What's up, Internet? How's it going? Happy Wednesday surprises, because it's, must be Valentine's Day. Yeah! How you doing, Mr. Chips? Mr. Chips. Mr. Chips is here with us on the stream today. How you doing, sir? How are you feeling? Mr. Chips has been a little under the weather. He was he was doing some serious karate moves the other day, and I think he pulled a muscle again, but we'll be taking him to the vet after the show because the lovely Vicky Toria and I, well, that's what we're going to do. That's what we have to do. So that's what's going to go on. That's what's going to happen. And, yeah, so hopefully he seems like he's feeling better than he was before. How you doing, buddy? Yes, ma. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. All right, buddy. We're going to do the show now. You ready? I know he gets a little freaked out when I start yelling, so. Sorry, Mr. Duty. All right. Happy to see everybody here. I completely forgot who was new because, as you guys probably noticed, I had to reload, you know. I had to reload, and at least I had everything ready today, like a little bit ahead of time. And I was doing some other work around here. You guys notice there's a different painting in the background. There's a different thing I'm working on today. Whoa! And so I'm actually doing the rest of it. Maybe you can see there's some line work and stuff that'll be going on to this thing. But I was doing some other work, and I realized what it is now that screws with the audio. So at least now I'm prepared, and I know what it is that does that. Because it's trying to play the audio out of something else is why it does that. So at least I know now that I got to restart the thing and be like, dude, what are you doing? Are you tripping? Don't be like Fluval. Don't be like Fluval and be tripping. If anybody caught the Real Fish Talk yesterday, Corey and I talked a lot about... we talked a lot about the, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for here? About the Fluval tripping, and gave you guys a little backstory on that. So hopefully you guys caught that. And hopefully it made sense that we do like that company a lot. We like a lot of their products, blah, blah, blah. That's the whole reason for Fluval's tripping. Because initially I was like, hey, Fluval, you guys should send me a free reef light. And then, yeah, it all... snowballed from there, but I do appreciate everybody throwing the hashtag Fluval's tripping out there. It's always cracks me up whenever I see it, like on a video or something like that. It does big time. Another quick point of business I wanted to run through real quickly here was that I have noticed we have lost a bunch of patronizers this month, and I'm sorry to hear that. And the reason I'm sorry to hear that is because more often than not, when I read the exit survey, it's like because people are having layoffs and they're experiencing financial difficulties and stuff like that. So I am super sad to hear that that we got Fish Fam going on like that. And I'm always sad to hear that's what's going on. So it's not so much like my own selfish stuff. If anybody's like, oh man, he's talking about Patreon again. Yeah, I'm just saying that I was reviewing the comments and stuff like that today, and I realized like, oh man, we've lost a bunch of people. What happened? So I went and looked at the, what you call it, the exit surveys, and I was like, oh man, there's a bunch of people that like have some bad stuff going on. So my well wishes go out to everyone, especially on a Valentine's Day. It's sad to hear that on a Valentine's Day. I don't like hearing that stuff. But hopefully, with any little bit of luck out there, those of you that are going through the current little hardships like that, maybe it's on to bigger and better things and new awesome stuff coming in. You know what I mean? So hopefully that will be. Hopefully that's what'll happen. Hopefully that's what will come with that, and hopefully it's on to just bigger and brighter things. That's what I look forward to hearing. So you know. It's a regular old work day. I see, I wanted to say hi to who was first, and I completely forgot who it was. But I know Douglas Palmer was here early. I know Frank Dominguez was not first. I honestly forget who was first, and it sucks because I had to reload the thing, and then it's gone. It disappeared. But, you know, I'd like to give a shout-out to some of the people in the chat here real quick as we warm it up. We know it's a 2-hour show, so... You know, we don't get too many ants in our pants and all those kinds of things, and we want to make sure that we say hi to a lot of people. We currently have 127 people here live, so that's cool. A little low turnout, probably because it's Valentine's Day and everybody's getting all their flower petals strewn about and romance in the air, right? But let's see, our menstrapedi it's here. That is a difficult name for me to pronounce, honestly. Ryan Charlesworth is here. Alyssa Bentley is here. Wenbo Chu, Mr. Douglas Palmer. Alyssa, I think I said Alyssa Bentley already, but hey, that's twice. Smutsig Disc is here. Juren SBR is here. Good to see you, Jurgen. There we go. Jurgen. There we go. Something like that. Wushu, Jimmy Brown, Candy Overhauls, Dan Squires, Ryan Brown. G-Bear is here. The Bearded Fish Keeper, what's up, my man? Tim Lewis is here. Lisa Aqualove, what's up? Gary B. Rekab Harris. All right, I think I'm getting closer on that name. Barbara Jackson, Savannah Morrow, Sarah Konopko, Gaddis Aquatics, Mike J. H. Bobby Rosenbaum, how you doing? Mary Beth Mabe is here. What's going on, Mary Beth? How you doing? Let's see here. Kevin Keener, what's up? The bus driver of the North. Well, I think he's more of a mechanic, right? I don't know. I'm always confused. Let's see here. Eric Hernandez is here. Phil Emerson, what's up, my man? I know he was early, I remember. Mellow Moogle is here. Flip Wilson, what's up? Brian CZ. Chris Cloetstra. Chris Cloetstra. Hello from Waterloo, Ontario, otherwise known as Canada. What's up? Good to see everybody here. Sharon Gregoire, Carson Anderson, Spencer Ballard, and I'm starting to like double up on names here. Tommy Watson, Soggy Pitts, Ricardo Bastos, Bare Bottoms Aquariums, Magic 21 Mom, Freshman Aquatics, Licks Nibbles. Who we got here? Famous Jones. Oh man, it's Spadoinkle. A whole bunch of awesome people. C&H Aquatics or Aquariums. I always say Aquatics instead because I forget. Donald's Fish Vibes. Ed Award Aquarium. Flynn's Fish Forum. Bentley Pascal. Why don't I do the pop out chat, you guys? I don't know why I'm like looking over that direction when I could be looking over here. Hey, look at that. Nick C is here. Donnie Hill. Mike J.H. who I already said hi to, and yeah, okay. I'm not going to keep going because it's going to get crazy, and I'm going to start doubling up, and it does get kind of boring. But Brandon Cox, what's up? Eric Hernandez, yep. Zombie drummer, what's up? I try not to forget anybody, but that's just kind of what happens, you know. There's a lot of people here, so. But hello, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. It has been a nutty day for me here personally, right from the get-go. I have no idea. I have no idea how this day has gone by so quickly. It's gone by so quickly, and it's already after 3 o'clock. I don't even know how it got to that point. You know what I'm saying? Oh, excuse me, my stretching my back a little bit. There we go. All right. I see Sashimi Whiskey here in the chat. What is up, my man? We got to hang out yesterday a little bit. Although it's always just so fleeting when we get a chance to hang out. And it's always just so short. It's always just so short. He's actually out eating pho. I kind of wish I was out eating pho. Maybe Vicky and I'll go get pho tonight for Valentine's. Valentine's. It's Valentine's. Come on down for Valentine's. Valentine's is in the air today. Isn't that how that goes? I think that's how the Valentine's Day song goes, right? I think that's how it goes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just some guy, you know. But Spencer Ballard with our first super chatter action of the day with the hashtag Fluval's tripping. Well, thank you, Spencer Ballard. That's all going into the fund, you guys. It's going into the fund to try and get the new camera action. Thank you very much to everybody who is kicking in on Monday, man. That was kind of buck wild with the super chats and all that stuff. So, if anybody thinks I forgot, I don't forget. It was awesome. Thanks, guys. And I'm super encouraged, and we're moving every inch closer to a new camera and some new gear that we're needing around here. And I'm getting pretty excited for all of it. You know what I mean? Lord Getface asks, okay, what's pho? Pho is a delicious Vietnamese soup, French-style broth, and rice noodles, and meats and vegetables and stuff like that. That would be the easiest way to describe it real quickly. Simple Google search will just be like, oh my god, it's delicious. It's one of my favorite things to eat, honestly, you guys, is going out to pho. And I dig it. I dig it. I dig it a lot. It's one of my favorite meals, honestly. I used to live across the street from one of the best pho places I've ever been to, and I'm going to tell you this. I used to eat there all the time. First name basis kind of situation, knew exactly what I wanted when I walked in the door kind of deal. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I lost my coffee. What did I do with it? How odd. I lost my coffee. I thought I put it right here. There's just tape here, you guys. That's not good. You can't drink tape. This is ridiculous. Oh, I don't even know what happened to it. It's so sad. It's all alone somewhere. My coffee's all alone somewhere. But maybe I'll see if I can run and try and find it. If, like, maybe the UPS guy comes or something, I can go yell at the dogs and find my coffee. But it seems like it's long gone. Who knows? Probably off into the ether. Mr. Chips, where's my coffee? I don't know. He says he doesn't know. All right. I'm going to admit, I'm going to see if I can grab it real fast. Start a countdown. 30, 29, 28. Oh my god, it was on the other side of the house. Yeah, that was pretty fast. All right. All right. So back to the show. Sorry about that. I just realized I'm like, oh my god, I don't have anything to drink over here, and I'm supposed to talk for Another hour and 42 minutes. Oh my God. I need something to wet my whistle, right? So I forget what I was talking about. But I did notice some chat early here of some people were trying to figure out some substrates, and they were talking about LR Bretts and our friends over at LR Bretts and Flip Aquatics apparently had some videos out about Brightwell substrate. I would say you can't really go wrong with Brightwell. You guys know that I often say get Fluorite, EcoComplete, or Fluvault Stratum. Those are the three that I go to. But I can't say you'd be really wrong, you know, if you went for the Brightwell Aquatics. I've seen it work out pretty well. So I wouldn't be tripping over that one. I think you honestly be making a pretty good decision in regards to that. There we go. Oh my God, it's a $100 super chat. Oh my God, I'm gonna buy some substrate with it. No, I don't need any substrate, you guys. I have all the substrate I need. Wow, the zombie drummer with a $100 super chat. Ben's for that lens. Get the Benjamins for the lens. Wow, my guy, with a $100 super chat that is red. That is red. I know Steven Skoglund did the $50 super chat, and it's kind of a mystery color. It's sort of a purpley violet or something like that, but that definitely is a red. That is 100% red. Thank you very much, man. That goes straight into the camera fund, and be putting that right in there. Be putting that right in there towards that new camera, man. Thank you very much, dude. I much appreciate it. Yeah. So thank you very much. I totally appreciate it. And I'll end up making a weird face, and somebody will take a screenshot of it, which I think is one of the reasons that I like to just make a weird face in my thumbnails ahead of time. I'm like, like, I already put that in there. I already look like a weirdo. Got it. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it, and I'm sure somebody will screenshot that. Oh, I'm just looking at my. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna take a second here and look at. My moderator chat over here, which you guys can't read, when people start misbehaving. Sounds like we got somebody in the chat who just can't handle themselves. So see you later, whatever your imaginary fake name is. No mention of who it is, but I just noticed that my moderator chat had an alert on it, and so we'll just be doing that. But thank you very much, Zombie Drummer, for the big-time super chat. That's huge, dude. I very much appreciate it, and I like drummers. I like zombies, and that's a good avatar, the Zombie Drummer, man. I think it's a pretty good name. You know what I'm saying? So, Brandon Cox says, I bet the super chats are different colors because Google owns YouTube and they like to use colors for everything. Oh, that might be. That might be very well. That might be very well. It might be very well that that they what's the word? That might be something. That might be the idea where they came up with the colors for the super chat. But I don't know who came up with the color scheme. So I don't know. But either way, it's kind of interesting. I always like to think. I always kind of just go like, huh, weird. Like, because they're all a different color. So, yeah. And, yeah, to those of you guys that have wondered over the years, like, who makes the decisions if somebody gets banned or whatever, or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, all the people with the wrenches and everything in there, they can go ahead and have a conversation separate of you guys, and then it's pretty easy to just review it. We got that technology, you know what I'm saying? We got that strong technology and communication, so we like it. So that's kind of how it goes. Pretty much, I do the baseball thing. Everybody is allowed to make a couple mistakes here and there, but when you just consistently do it over and over again, it's like, see you later. That's just kind of how it goes. No, I don't have the rules written down because I don't feel like any of the rules would even need to be written down because they're kind of obvious. But if you're generally just being mean to people or anything like that, that's pretty much what it comes down to. I'm pretty adult, and I can disagree with stuff and have a great conversations with people that I don't have the same beliefs with and all that kind of stuff. But if you're just being mean or whatever, you know, just kind of one of those things, you end up going away. I noticed that a lot of people, I've been into a lot of live streams recently where I've noticed that there are a ton of moderators and stuff like that. You guys will notice that I only have 10 moderators, mainly because I try to keep it as a close-knit group so we all know what's going on. We're all communicating and stuff like that. And so, yeah. That's kind of how we work the system, and that's also one of the reasons that, you know, I give a shout-out to Kevin and Joel and Steven Skoglund and CNH and Cichlid Bro, Mellow Moogle, Dan Squires, Candy, Matt Weber, and Nisi of the North and that and stuff, so we can actually just, you know, totally pay attention to what's going on and stuff like that. And, you know, a guy like Frank, man, he's got some important Valentine's Day stuff going on, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if he has time for all that. He's too busy monitoring whether or not he can show up first to the chat or not. The Lysander is here saying, good video on the diffuser the other day. Have you built any without bio balls, but with the tubing sticking into the water flow? Now, I'm confused with the tubing sticking into the water flow question, but yes, I have built them without bio balls before. I find the bio balls just to be the, first of all, the easiest thing, because I have them around. They don't break down, and they don't, like, collect stuff. If there happens to be things that, detritus or something like that, that might be making its way into it, they don't seem to collect it and hold on to it or anything like that, so... they seem to work out pretty well with the tube going back into the water flow. I've done it like into pumps and stuff like that, hang-on back filters in the past, and honestly, I find actually just making a little reactor is generally the best thing to do. I did the DIY video because I've actually made a bunch of these, and some people out there may find that, oh man, if I buy all this stuff, it might cost $50, right? Which a pretty simple Amazon search, right, would definitely expose the fact that you could buy like a pre-made one. Or if you looked up a saltwater reactor, like a reef reactor, then you would find out pretty rapidly that you could probably buy one for $50 or $70 or something like that. So you may or may not be saving any money, but maybe you just want to build one. For me, I almost always have most of the parts lying around. So if I have the parts lying around, then I find it just to be pretty darn easy to utilize it, utilize them, and then just put them to work. You know what I mean? Oh, we have a new feature, you guys. I don't know if anyone's gonna think that I'm tripping or anything like that, but here's a link right here. Oh, can I not do it? Error, try again. Oh, maybe I can't do that link. Maybe if I put a space after it? Hold on. Well, sorry. Never mind. We don't have a new thing. YouTube does not want me to post that. Okay. Well, I had a link to an outside. Well, link. Can't put that link in there. So we can't put that link in there. You know what I mean? But actually, I was trying to post a link in there, and then now I got sidebarred because I can't, because it didn't work. Bought 2 clown plecos for my 55. All right, so whose question was I answering? The Lysander, and so I didn't see any follow-up. I was kind of confused about the tube going back into the water flow. You could just have it like diffusing into a diffuser into your sump, and that actually will work fairly well, just not as well. You want to get the CO2 fully into the water column as much as you can, and I found that to be the best way to go about adding CO2. Savannah Morrow says, yeah, I got all excited and accidentally posted a message in all caps on Monday. Got a warning. Didn't mean to break any rules, I swear. I just get really excited about fishes and fish-related stuff. Yeah, I don't mind the all caps stuff. And if you do get a warning from any of the moderators or anything like that, it's normally just a suggestion. Just like, hey, you know, try not to do everything in all caps, because then everybody will be typing in all caps, and then it will be a super mess, if you know what I mean. Because, but I don't really care if people post in all caps. It just gets out of hand if everybody's doing it all the time. You know what I mean? So wouldn't worry too much about that. But yeah, so anybody that ever gets banned or anything like that, there has been a discussion ahead of time. It's pretty rarely an accident or anything like that. If somebody did get banned on accident, we'll normally figure it out. You know what I mean? So yeah, but the basically the only rules are here is to not self-promote ahead of time, and to not just be a jerk to anybody else. I prefer that if people need something promoted, to just email me ahead of time, and typically I'll just do a little segment about it if it's something. If there's something that you want me to promote, if you email me ahead of time, normally I will gladly do it. We actually have a bunch of people that have emailed in already with some critiques and things that will be going on Friday's shows of either some tank setups, to answer some questions off of the Patreon. As you guys know, I kind of try to do the Patreon questions from the week on Friday, so that we can address all of them on Friday, and then hopefully, like, people going into their weekend or whatever are like, huzzah! Now Saturday I can go to my local fish store or whatever. If you needed to pick something up or whatever, then you'd just be ready to do it, because it'd be like the weekend time. So, and then we do actually have some other YouTube channels to promote on Friday. People that have gotten in their questions / whatevers. Little Largemouth was first to the chat today. That's who it was. I couldn't remember who it was, but shout out to Little Largemouth for being first to the chat. I'm sorry I missed that earlier. Excuse me. Tyler says you guys should all like the stream. Yeah, do that. Hit the like thing. Skynet's real, and we try to appease the Skynet. Happy Valentine's Day from Carson. Well, thank you, Carson. It's good to see you, too. Happy Valentine's Day to you and your family. Let's see. Fuzzy Fish, I got some Gary Lang rainbow fish eggs, because he's a member in a fish club. Any advice on egg raising the little fries? Yeah, a little bit of green water. Nice temperature for them. Always make sure to oxygenate the water. If there's something you can set up for a little bit of, to make sure that there's a good amount of oxygen right where the eggs are going to be at, that's something that you can do to help promote them. And then just be ready for them to hatch with infusoria, probably some green water, something along those lines, and some Java moss is generally kind of the best little situation that you can set up for those eggs, and especially once they hatch. One of the easiest methods to help feed would be to boil a chicken egg and take the yolk portion, eat the white yourself, and then go ahead and break down a little bit of the yolk into some aquarium water, and you can just dab a little bit of that in there, you know, twice a day, something like that. You don't have to go super crazy with it or anything like that. What's going on with Gone Mad? How you doing, my man? Gone mad, it's Mr. Gone Mad and Iris. What's up, guys? Glad to see them on the Valentine's Day here. Good to see you. Hopefully you're not super snowed in too crazy or anything like that. Let's see here. What is... Oh, Barbara Jackson was saying, Nightbot got me once also for too many emojis. It's a rite of passage. Yeah, it's one of those things that I know everybody has like kind of different rules and stuff like that. I know that if people have Nightbot, it will, you know, kind of bump people and quiet them for a little while. We don't have that. We have humans. We have human moderators, and until the day comes where we have to hire the machines, in the meantime, we'll just keep doing it human style. Let's see here. Jennifer J. Sarchicino, what is happening? How you doing? Oh, so long from seeing Jennifer J. Sarchicino. How you doing? What's going on? What's the news? What's new? Oh, it's good to see Jennifer in the chat. Let's see here. Jay Wilson had Zenzo on his channel today and mentioned Real Fish Talk. Oh, right on. I haven't seen that yet. I look forward to seeing that. I'm a big fan of Zenzo. I'm a big fan of Jay Wilson also. I actually got to finally meet Jay in person. We've had so many internet conversations. It's ridiculous, and things along those lines. And finally got to meet in person at the Chicago Aquatic Experience, the Aquatic Experience Chicago 2017, right? Is that how that goes? somebody be like, you got it wrong. Yeah, well, I probably did. But we actually got to finally hang out a little bit in the at the Aquatic Experience when we were both there, and hopefully he'll be coming out to be on the Real Fish Talk at some point in time. I know that we were kind of talking back and forth on some dates. It would be super fun to get Jay to come out, mainly because he's a huge cichlid guy. And I'm not a huge cichlid guy, so it's pretty easy to go for us to kind of, you know, have conversation back and forth about the specific setups and all that kind of stuff. And especially as I may or may not be paying 100% attention to the things that are going on in the cichlid world. You know, I might fall off, but it's good to have a guy like Jay to be able to come out and talk some sense into me or whatever. All right. Actually pretty quiet today on the internet, you guys. What's going on? Must be Valentine's Day. Carson's yelling bacon, and that's always smart because bacon's delicious. G-Bear's pretty sure Jay Wilson shouted out your channel a year or two ago, if I'm correct. Yes, I have gotten shout-outs from Jay, and I've given Jay shout-outs over the years myself, because I like him and he likes me, one way or another, right? We's friendly, and I'm hoping that he'll be out this way sometime in April, is what I've had a lot of conversations lately with people about when they may or may not be coming out and being in town, so I don't want to speak out of line, you know what I mean, and accidentally say, like, the wrong month or whatever, but I believe it was April that we were talking about. I believe it was April that we were talking about him possibly making his way out here, and you know, just coming out to have some good old fish tank fun. You know what I mean? So should be pretty cool if he does. We got some. Speaking of, okay, so we've gotten that. We got to that. What else did we get to? Did I forget anything that I was supposed to be getting onto? All right, I got a quick personal note here. It doesn't matter how many times I block Twitter, I still get emails from Twitter. Does that happen to anybody else? Like, I don't go on Twitter ever. And it doesn't matter how many times I flag them as spam, somehow I still get emails from them. It's so bizarre. It is mind-bending how those guys manage to... They're like the only company that can figure out how to just keep sending me email forever. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to be on Twitter. Stop, you know. It's very bizarre. I think that's one of the main reasons I don't want to have anything to do with Twitter. Oh, he's breaking through. It's very odd. All right. Good thing I ran away to go get my coffee, right? Alvin Alejo is asking, do you think those 3M under-sink filters are good for using for aquariums? As a pre-filter to your aquarium, water? Yes. They're definitely not a fantastic way to go about if you were trying to run water through them. To filter it in the aquarium, if you feel me on that, I would say that it's not a great way to filter the water from the aquarium and then go back in, but they do work fairly well as pre-filters. I use a 3-stage pre-filter for my reef water. And then I use a 2-stage filter for my standard freshwater aquarium that's going in. The 2 stages that are the same on both of them are the micron and carbon, basically like a charcoal filter that will pull out any of the potential chlorine and chloramines and any of that kind of stuff. And the micron filter will pull out any particulate stuff that may or may not be coming out of our water lines from around here, because... from time to time, they crack the fire hydrants around here, and our water goes a little bit brown or whatever. I don't know. A bunch of people stopped in, and a bunch of people left. Guess the show's not that good. Probably should try and do something different, I guess, or whatever. $100 super chats always break the show. Thanks, Zombie Drummer. Let's see. Rob Hicks Aquariums. Hey, Corvus and all the fish fam. I may be late, but it's always time to hit the like button, and it's free and fun to do. Ah, thanks, Rob. Alyssa Bentley says, well, I listen while I'm cleaning. If I sat on the chat the whole time, I'd get zero work done. Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Hey, it's a great way to listen to a long format show like this. Oh, and everybody out there is cooking bacon. Let's see. There was a question here I wanted to answer. Emma Martin says, I live in England and I'm looking to get a pair of Japanese black and bronze ribbon guppies. Does anyone know where I can get them from? Thanks. I don't in England, and that's not a question that I can answer, so I don't. But I'd love to, hopefully somebody out there in the world maybe knows where to get some guppies in England. But personally, I don't. I don't have a lot of advice on where to go for things in England. Even though we love our British fans, I've never been to England, so I couldn't even tell you like any personal experiences that I've had in England because I haven't been there. Keel Quigley says, Happy Valentine's Day, fish fam. Oh, Debbie Swan says, no, it's dinner time on the East Coast and Valentine's Day. That's a good point. I bet you a lot of people stopping in to hit the like button, and then they got to go back to whatever they're doing. I know I have to do that sometimes because, like, certain people, when they're live streaming, I'll have to, like, pop in and be like, oh, I'm doing other stuff. Oh, I'm doing other stuff. I gotta... Oops. You know, I gotta do other stuff. I'll hit the like button and then take off. I do that all the time. Geez, Logman. Great to catch you live from the Netherlands. You know of any South American freshwater shrimp? I can't think off the top of my head of South American freshwater shrimp, just like right off the top of my head. I think Sulawesi's are... I think Sulawesi's are South American, and I think Amano shrimp are South American. And tiger shrimps? I think tiger shrimps might be South American. Gosh, I'm trying to think of freshwater South American shrimp. I'd have to look that up. I think I would have to like look that up to know their geography. Right, I wouldn't know them right off the top of my head. But that would be a great question to send in like on a Patreon. Or email it to me. Let's see. Let's see here. James Neesham says, severe lack of decent guppies in the UK. Oh, man, that sucks. I've got 2 guppies here, you guys. You know, part of what the big video segment today in the show is actually... I'm in the long process of rescaping the 150-gallon aquarium that they live in, and happy to say most of the stonework and everything is done. Now I'm just down to replanting, which is essentially the fastest part. That's the part that goes pretty darn quick. Michael Moncur says a mono shrimp are from Japan and Taiwan. Well, yeah, Japonicas. But I think there's a type of, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think, I don't know. It's something I'd have to look up ahead of time. But I think there's a type of a mono shrimp. They look like a mono shrimp that are from South America. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Savannah Morrow asks, what are your thoughts on pothos plants with their roots immersed for additional filtration? That's a fantastic way to get additional filtration. I know that Tazawa Tanks posted a little aquaponic type system that's out on his back porch earlier today. I saw his video. It'd be a great little example of what you could do. Bentley Pascal says, most of the South American shrimp are true blackwater species. The 2 kinds that are not in the hobby are extremely reclusive and then stopped being in the hobby. Okay. Well, like I said, I would have to look into that more to figure out the origin of all of them. To figure out like the distinct origin. It's a pretty rare question that ever really comes up that much. So I'd have to look into that. Let's see. Rob Hicks is asking, can you do a stream on different kinds of salts and the benefits and uses of them? Yeah, I could probably do a stream on that at some point in time. I think that I could probably do a stream about salts and all the different crazy salts and all that nonsense. Yeah, I don't know when, though. Let me figure out when that would be. But that'd be a great thing to email into me. Also, along with, like, the South American shrimps, so that I could probably get a little bit of time to go like, oh, yeah, let me write down a couple notes and things just so I can remember some highlight things to point out to you guys. Freshman Aquatic says, let's play what would Corvus do? 40-gallon breeder, 3 fish, and up to 6 plants. We did a bunch of those on the Real Fish Talk yesterday about stocking. But what would I do? Look at my fish room. That's what I would do, honestly. I I know that's it sounds like a terrible question, but or it sounds like a terrible answer or whatever. I'm not saying that. I know I get everyone that likes to play that game. But for me, it's just kind of like, what would I do is my aquariums. That's what I would do. So like the 150 has guppies, cherry shrimp, snails, a bunch of other a ton of different kinds of plants and stuff like that. It's getting more and more plants. Honestly, I would say the revolving door for me is different kinds of plants. I'm always getting back into plants I haven't done in a long time, and then going like, oh man, you know, oh, I've totally forgot about that. Like I forgot about Hostifolia anubius until like the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta do more Hostifolia. I'm freaking out. It's been a long time, so. G-Bear, I already answered that question earlier. Barbara Jackson, I love my Amano shrimp. They do get really big and they're so easy. Yes, Amano shrimp are really easy to, honestly, really easy to take care of. Brandon Cox was asking, have I ever been to Texas? Yes. Yes, I have been to Texas. I like Texas as just like kind of a place to visit. I don't think I would ever live there, mainly because there really isn't any public land. As big as Texas is, there like isn't any public land left. It's a lot of the areas where people live, it's either super overdeveloped or super underdeveloped. If that kind of makes sense. It's like you're either in a giant city with like 9 million people running amok, or you're like in a dust bowl kind of going like, wait a minute, everybody's 50 miles that way, but we can't do anything here because someone owns this, you know? So, plus there's not really any mountains in Texas, so I don't think I would ever live there, but I definitely enjoyed the visits that I've had there. It was always generally pretty fun. Except for that one time when Vicky and I were at the airport and it was hot and smelled like farts. But that was still fun because I was hanging with Vicky, so... I forget where we were going. I'm not sure where we're going. Maybe we're going to Michigan or something. I don't know. I can't remember where we were going to end up landing, but it was really hot and it smelled like farts. It just really was the only way to put it. Let's see. Jeffrey Rosenfarb is asking, other than dwarf baby tears, what's your top carpeting plant in a tank not using CO2? Okay. This is actually pretty easy. Dwarf baby tears will probably need CO2 unless you can get like just a perfect environment for them in a natural way. I have grown dwarf baby tears without CO2, though it's kind of mind-bending how long it takes to get them to grow and stuff like that. But Crypt Parva would be a great carpeting plant. Dwarf Chainsword, which I'm actually carpeting the 240 with right now, is actually a pretty good one. I do have to start trimming it back here again, so hopefully I'll be able to get some video of that for you guys next week. Or maybe I'll do... Maybe I'll do that tonight. How weird. Maybe I'll do that tonight. Yeah. Maybe I'll do that tonight. Let's see. We'll write that down. Trimming chainsword. There we go. Wrote it down terribly. Dwarf chainsword would be a great one. Glossostigma elantoides. I'm probably saying that wrong. Otherwise known as Glosso would be a great carpeting plant that you could do. Monte Carlo doesn't grow for me, mainly because I don't have buffered water very well. I'm not buffering my water well enough for it to be doing well. So maybe if you have a little bit harder water than I do, I have soft acidic water here, and so I would consider that if you were going to do Monte Carlo. There's quite a few beautiful carpeting plants. And to me, it doesn't really matter which one you want to do. I would definitely just look into, you know, being able to spend the time to get everything grown in real well. And then remember that you're going to have to be doing a lot of trimming and stuff like that. And if you're ready and geared up for it, then it definitely is a worthwhile thing. Let's see here. What is this? Notification. Okay, there we go. Related to that last question from Ray's Fish Room. Hey Joel, CO2 question. Can you split a line for 2 fish tanks, or do you need to use a splitter from the CO2 tank? Okay, thanks. Yes, you actually need to use a splitting manifold, which actually I have a 6-way splitter that comes from the regulator to the solenoid, right? And then the splitter is right behind it, and then an individual line goes to every reactor underneath the aquarium in the sumps out there. So I wouldn't go over 6 off of a splitter like that because it becomes really difficult to maintain specific pressure by that. By just the amount of CO2 that the actual tank can let out at a time. But 3, 4, 5, 6 is generally not that difficult with individual needle valves on the splitter. Of which, you know, the parts aren't too crazy to get a hold of. Had some locals come out that were a little bit confused about their CO2 equipment. They came out. I helped them put it all together. Super awesome couple. I'm not going to tell you their names just because that part doesn't matter. But super awesome locals came out. I actually showed the guy what I showed to the guys what I was doing as I was putting it together. Explained all the parts to them. Showed them all the stuff, and then they were like, "Oh, cool, right on." So I think once you get it sorted on that end, then it's fairly easy to do and not super difficult. But a quick Amazon search basically would be CO2 splitter brass, probably, you know, something like that, and then you'll probably come up with something pretty good. Brandon Cox says, I live pretty rural myself. 30 minutes south of San Antonio. It's not so bad. Outside tropical fish tanks. Yeah. That's pretty good. Yep. I don't dislike Texas. I just don't think I would ever live there, mainly because no public land. That would be one of the biggest issues. Barbara Jackson says the bell is very unreliable. The bell is probably because we launched the live stream and then had to relaunch the live stream. So it's essentially my fault. It keeps I keep screwing myself over to have a better turnout for the show because I start the show with no audio and then have to redo it, and then YouTube goes like, "Oh wow, there's 2 shows," and we sent out the notification for the first one, and the first one is no good, so blah 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 blah, and then it just ends up like kind of a disaster. So yeah, that one. The first one is 47 seconds long. And is apparently sitting there doing whatever it's doing. I'm gonna hold on, where's the thing? Oh, there we go. Wait, what? All right, never mind. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to figure out what this thing is doing. It's like freaking out over there. All right. So that's probably why you didn't get a notification, was because we started the show and then I had to restart the show. That's probably why. And that's my fault. It's not anybody's fault. I wouldn't even say it's YouTube's fault. But we will be here. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we keep rocking and rolling and doing what we do. Luckily, we're coming up on the 4 o'clock hour, so now we can go into some video and check out some video and stuff. So we'll get that going. We got 3 dislikes already. Yeah, well, whatever. Some people don't like my show, and then they get sad, and they hit the dislike button. And then we just kind of go, all right. Let me answer a couple questions here real quick. Emma Martin says, good show. Thanks for doing what you do. I have 3 axolotls, and I want to get live plants in there. Is there a light I can have with them? As I have been told, the axolotls don't like a lot of light. Yeah, axolotls don't like a lot of light, honestly. I would essentially create a shaded area for them to be in, like a cave or something like that, or like an overhang. Like maybe some big rocks, put my substrate up above there, and then have my plants grow up back there so that whenever they're really being bothered by the light, they can just go down into the shade. So that's what I would do, is I would just create a space that they'd be able to, you know, get out of the light if they're being irritated by it, instead of trying to accommodate with maybe like a crummy light that doesn't work very good. You know what I mean? So I do that. Mary Beth Mabes asking, have you made a new Patreon video? Yeah, I've made some new Patreon videos, but I don't put anything behind the Patreon wall, if you know what I'm saying. So there is some short little so Patreon has like a Snapchat type thing now, and so I'll put up like little videos on there of just real quick videos of what's going on. But as far as like the real content and stuff goes, I'm not necessarily going to have stuff be behind or be like a Patreon only kind of stuff. So that's, I have done some little ones and whatnot, but oh, the new Patreon video for in the live stream. I don't know where the Patreon video went. It disappeared. So I'm trying to figure it. So I'm trying to figure it out. Trying to figure out where it went and whatnot. And no, I've been busy, and I would love to make a new one, and I'd love to get that up. But it's either make a video for the show or make a Patreon video and have no video for the show. So I'm sorry. It's just getting too busy. It's just getting too busy to get all this stuff done. So, and realistically, when I started doing the Patreon video, it didn't seem like that big of a task, honestly, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make a video of like the 50 people, and now it's up to 272 people, and I have to manually put all of the names in, and it's constantly changing. So as much as I am hyper appreciative of everybody, and I would love to be able to constantly do that, it's kind of low on the list of like content. So hopefully everybody understands, and I'm not like offending people by not having it on there, but I try to say thanks to everybody as much as I can, you know. And but realistically, like if it's gonna take if it's gonna take up 3 hours of editing time, I'm like, that's 3 hours of editing like short videos, which is one of the reason for the Patreon, is getting enough time to be able to put up short videos. So like that CO2 video, the reactor video from Tuesday, like that video wouldn't have come out if it weren't for like the Patreon. So hopefully that's a good trade-off. You know, I've been trying to get out as many short videos as I can. That is still the goal on the Patreon, to try and get to the next goal is to be able to get a fully edited, like a fully edited video out every week. And you know, personally, I think we've been hitting that goal even without hitting the dollar amount on the Patreon. Like I've been putting out like a couple of extra videos a week. So I'm thinking that like maybe I got to dial back how many videos I'm putting out to try and encourage more people onto the Patreon. No. But I just realistically think that like the workflow right now is actually kind of working. So whatever, I don't know, that might sound a little bit weird. That might have sounded weird. That might have sounded weird, but I think it's working. I think I am getting out enough videos. I mean, I would love to get way more videos out. I'd love to just be able to do videos just all the time, constantly nonstop, but I have to do all the other stuff too. And so we're trying to hit those goals, trying to hit those things and stuff like that, but I think it's coming along. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Jeffrey Rosenfarb says, I live in New York City. We have pretty much the same water by you, acidic soft. Maybe you have similar water via the acidity, but I would guarantee you that New York's water is not the same as Seattle's water or Tacoma's water. It's just, there's no way. I'll just go throw a TDS meter on your water, and then we'll talk. What's your nitrates at? What's your nitrites at? What's the ammonia at? What's the iron content? What's all, you know, there have to be a lot more done to figure out if we have the same kind of water, because I know that most people that go out to New York are like, this water tastes terrible compared to the water from out here. You know, if I run a TDS meter off the tap out here, it'll be like 35. That's 0.35 parts per million. So it's pretty darn clean coming out of the tap around here. Michael Faulkner says, I'm doing great. Or it says, I'm doing great, in your humble opinion. Well, thank you, Michael Faulkner. I appreciate it. D, super happy to be here with us. Thanks, D. James loved the reactor video. Mary Beth says, no offense, just questioned. Yeah, I wasn't being offended by that. I was just I was trying to go like, you know what? I'm a little disappointed that I don't have it too. So that was kind of my reaction, was like, you know, I wish I could fit it in. You know, it's like yesterday I got back at like 10:30 from doing the Real Fish Talk. And, you know, like when it's 10:30, that means I have to go to bed because it's already an hour after I'm supposed to be to bed. So I can get up at 5:30, because I get up at 5:30, start my day. So it's like the days have just been kind of like running into the end. You know, it's like, oh, I have to go to bed now because now tomorrow's going to come and I better be ready for tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm hopefully I didn't sound offended, but it was more just like I'm kind of a little bit disappointed in me not being able to fit it in and do a better job with it. But I really kind of just making the accommodation in my head when I kind of sorted it out in my head was, yeah, well, I'm trying to get these edited videos out, so I want to keep dropping those, and then hopefully, like I said, hopefully that is like some kind of checks and balances or something that like if the Patreon people were like, man, but I was like, that's the goal, is to do the edited videos. So I don't know. Karen Pepe says, really? New York City is supposed to have the best water. It comes from a reservoir upstate. You can drink it right from the tap. Well, Seattle and Western Washington get we get our water supply from the Cascade Mountains, which is all snow melt. Like real mountains, like actual mountains. You know, like real mountains. Not those goofy New York mountains. Somebody was like, I remember somebody was like, oh yeah, here's our mountains. Like the top of the mountain was like 3,800 feet or something like that. And I'm like, that seems goofy because, you know, the passes where the roads go, so where it's like the lowest point where you can get through the mountain range, are higher up than that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, those are just tiny little hills. But that's where all our water comes from. Comes straight from the Pineapple Express, blowing right off the Pacific Ocean, and then runs into the Cascade Mountains, falls down as snow. We get the giant snowpack that melts off every year, and that's where our water comes from. So it's pretty darn good. Rarutu says New York City gets water from Catskill Mountains in upstate. Yeah, I know upstate New York's actually pretty nice and all that kind of stuff, but y'all's tripping. Y'all's tripping if you think New York City has nicer water than Seattle. I mean, come on. Michael Faulkner with the $5 super chat. Bienvenido a Peru. With the $5 super chat, going into the tip buckets, try and get me to go to Peru with Mr. Corey. I'll be stoked. I'll be stoked if I can make it to try and go to Peru. I see JH Aquatics saying everyone needs a super chat. Joel, I want him to go to Peru too. I would love to go to Peru this year and see if I can't make that work. The biggest problem is that you know, it's like paying for it. You know, it's like I don't know very many like airlines out there where I'll just be like, dude, I'm cool, man. Let me on the plane. I want to go to Peru. So it's going to be one of those things. And you know, travel plans have been accommodated. And money has kind of been put aside for some of the Alaska trip to go help family up in Alaska with building some stuff this spring. Then we have a charity event that we're going to in Missouri in like August or something. It's going to be so hot. It's going to be the hottest run ever. We're going to go do like a 5K or something charity thing in Missouri. And then in the fall, I'm going to be going to the Aquatic Experience in Jersey. I'm going to be out there in Jersey, so maybe we'll be able to try some of that New York water, right? We can just go through a bridge in a tunnel and then boom, we're in New York, right? And try the New York water. And so then I think there's a couple other trips, which I don't know. Corey and I were talking about road tripping to Michigan in May, I think. Yesterday on the Real Fish Talk, we're talking about that, but that definitely hasn't been figured out yet. Hard Cheese says you have similar water to Japanese, great for skin quality on koi. Yeah, actually that's true. If you guys are excited about koi, you better get excited for next Tuesday's Real Fish Talk, because we have one of the preeminent koi guys, okay, coming on to the Real Fish Talk. Super exciting, okay? And I can't tell you how exciting it's going to be, because it would be weird if Zach is watching this. But Zach is going to be there, and he's just one of the premier koi guys in the world. He just got back from judging the koi competition, so I would look forward to that. I'm also in progress of editing a video from his place, koi.com. And hopefully you guys will like that video. I will tell you, I had a ton of fun with the Aquarium Co-op, Aqua Pros, Flip Aquatics, and a bunch of the all-stars out there at the koi.com checking it out and stuff. We had a great time while we were there. At a certain point in time, somebody tried to murder Corey from the Aquarium Co-op. He was thrown down some stairs. But luckily, through his resilient power, he thwarted the attempt on his life, and he survived. No one actually tried to kill him. It's just an ongoing joke. Speaking of Aquarium Co, oh, there he just showed up. He just showed up in the chat. I convinced my wife to go look at a road tripping car today. Oh, dang. I didn't even get any texts or anything. Well, maybe I did. I don't know. Nope. Well, maybe. Who knows? But he's going to have to let me know what you looked at. I'll have to check that out. But we should be able to road trip. Ryan and Hanzalwaddle Jones. Han Oxalotl? Maybe? I don't I'm probably getting it wrong. Are both asking where in Missouri. I don't know, but that's in August, so I'll be able to give you guys a heads up at some point in time. At some point in time, I would say that I would check out I'll check the itinerary and let you guys know ahead of time. I don't know exactly where we're going, but I'll check that out at some point and I'll let you guys know. I've considered a Prius V, but I don't think they are fun to drive in 12 hours a day. I tested some Subarus. You tested some Subarus? Like, what? Ridiculous. Oh, if you were wondering if a Prius is good to drive in for long times, I saw a Mr. Beast video where he hired an Uber and they drove cross country in an Uber, a Prius that they drove cross country in. I think it was like 4,000 miles, 3,000 miles. I don't know exactly how far they were going, but they drove cross country in an Uber. So check out that video. That might make some sense. Wichita Falls Fish Keeper, what up with the $5 super chat? Hey Joel, I want to keep Carradina. Mr. Bob Carradina, Mr. Bob Carradina, Mr. Bob Carradina, right? Is that how that goes? Can I remineralize RO water with Seachem Equilibrium instead of salty shrimp? You can remineralize with... Oh, gosh, I forget what's in Seachem Equilibrium. You can. I know some people do it, but I wouldn't... I can't remember what the breakdown is in it. Everyone thinks I'm always tripping on Seachem because I have one video out that was criticizing one of the products that Seachem sells, and that's the Matrix product. And so everyone thinks that I hate Seachem. I use a ton of their stuff, but I generally don't use Equilibrium. But let's see. To raise mineral content, general hardness, 1 tablespoon for every 20 gallons. When setting up an aquarium or making water changes for optimum solubility, we recommend mixing it with the water ahead of time. Blah, 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 blah. Do not use Equilibrium and trade when replacing evaporated water. This dose is based on DI or RO water. For other water, measure hardness first, then add according to need. Yeah, you might end up being a little more expensive though, because 600 grams is $12. So I think it probably just depends on the... Yeah, I mean, it's not... Equilibrium isn't something that I regularly use. I realistically try to stay away from all chemicals to increase either hardness or any of that kind of stuff in my water. I try to go as natural as possible and just maintain good water for my shrimp if I'm going with Carradinas. Because I look at it this way, is that if I take the time to set up an aquarium like the proper way for Carradinas, they should just be able to go in there and live. And as an exhibit of that is that I would say that if you take a look at some of the aquariums I've run in the past, like the giant crystal shrimp colony that I used to run in the past, kind of an example right there is that I'd run a large system and keep a ton of those shrimp because I feel like that's the best way to do it, and it definitely worked out pretty good. And if I'm using the chemical way to, maintain the water quality the way that I want, I'm going to end up with a lot of swings. You know what I mean? Is that I'm going to end up with a lot of up and down swings quite a bit, and that's the last thing I want to do. And the last thing I want to do is have fluctuations all the time, especially with super expensive shrimp. I mean, if you're talking about shrimp that are $10, $12, $15 a piece, and you've got 100 of them. The last thing I want to do is have this crazy stuff going on with my water. So Barbara Jackson saying I have weird water, high KH, low GH, neutral pH. Actually, that's pretty fine, because the only thing that you need to be worrying about at that point is the carbonate hardness, right? So because you have high carbonate hardness, then basically all you realistically need to do is bring that down a little bit, or have something in there that the carbonate hardness can break down, right? So if you have high carbonate hardness, you basically want to add just a little bit of peat somewhere to a filter or into the system, so that it can slowly break down a little bit and just soften out the carbonate hardness and things along that line, instead of going, oh, I'm going to add this chemical, I'm going to add this chemical, I'm going to add this chemical, and then because there's really no like release time or anything like that, or what happens the next time that you're dependent on the RO water in order to do water changes for your Caridina shrimp, and let's say you're out of your filters, like let's say you're out of your deionization, then you're like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do now. So what I like to do is set up a system. So the 150-gallon aquarium that I'm doing today is an exhibit of that, okay? I guess that's the reason I was trying to talk in that way, and then I got totally sidetracked, right? But this aquarium right here is been set up in the way that I like to set these aquariums up, because this will be a Caridina aquarium, whether or not I get my shrimp from Flip Aquatics or not. This will be a Caridina aquarium, right? This will be crystal shrimp of some variation. This will be, you know, whatever street name y'all want to give them, the Purple Madness, whatever nonsense name. But this will be a crystal shrimp aquarium again. And pardon me, but Vicky bought me cookies, so I have one here, and I had to take a bite out of it. I couldn't resist. It's too delicious. I'm sorry for chewing into the mic, you guys. But this system here, so I'm getting to the point where I have established plants. I have established driftwood. I have established life. I have established bacteria everywhere in this aquarium, and not just bacteria, established bacteria. That means like mature bacterial colonies. I'm growing plants in here and stuff. The water, whatever, not that big of a deal, but I'm really establishing this system. It's really in a groove. Now I'm actually adding the Seiryu Stone, which, as you guys know, is actually going to bring up the pH a little bit, but it is going to add a little bit of calcium to the water. But as a lot of people out there have mentioned from looking at some of the videos on here, they're like, man, your pH must be low. Like, yeah, on purpose. Because my overall aim is that once I bring in all this Seiryu Stone, that's actually going to balance out most of the low pH and stuff that I have. Now, the Neocaradinas, they don't care. As long as they have a healthy environment to live in, they don't care. And as proof be told, there's shrimp everywhere in this aquarium. There's baby shrimp, there's old shrimp, there's middle-aged shrimp, there's teenager shrimp, there's, what are you between being old and middle-aged? Whatever that is. Whatever that is, they're all in here. They're all breeding. Most of the females are pregnant or just had babies. Buried, however you want to put it. The only issue I have is that my guppy has not given birth yet, but I have a really established snail population in here. The water quality, as I've tested it over time, has really started to balance out. I've been feeding this aquarium with food, and over the, let's say, last 6 to 8 months that this aquarium has been set up, you guys have seen that I've slowly been doing changes to it. I'll add more driftwood. catappa leaves, those kinds of things. And I'm just essentially really establishing the system here, making sure that plants are grown into it and stuff like that before I go adding some really expensive shrimp. Okay, I have a large volume of water here, which is going to make it pretty difficult for huge sweeping variations in water quality or any of that kind of stuff. I can actually just do straight water changes into this system once everything... Obviously, I'm rescaping and doing a bunch of work on it right now, so a lot of the plants are going to be in shock for a week or two, right? But never fear, because the shrimp weren't even going to be getting in here probably for at least another month anyhow. So not a huge issue, not a huge problem, but a lot of the plants are established. The things have been growing and stuff like that. And as you guys notice, as an established system, look at how, like, grown in everything is. You know, I put a plant in there, it grows in. I put a, you know, we put some shrimp in there, they breed. Put some guppies in there, they've grown up, they're pregnant, they haven't given birth yet. But, not a big deal. It's not the biggest deal in the whole world. But, so this is the advice that I give people if they're trying to set up, you know, a fancy shrimp aquarium or something like that. Now, look, I understand a lot of people out there are like, I don't have space for a 150-gallon huge, what most people would consider a fairly huge aquarium. I think a 150 is kind of small, actually. But I get it. Now, most of the issues that almost every person I know that gets into shrimp, that try to do shrimp, they'll just set them up in like a 20-gallon long or whatever, right? And then, because they're like, oh, man, when I was at a breeder, I saw that he had a bunch of 20 longs set up, and that's how he was doing it. Which, granted, is a way that breeders can do those systems and stuff like that. But what kind of shrimp are they necessarily raising within that system? Are they raising extremely hardy shrimp? Are they raising extremely healthy shrimp? Are they even breeding them, or are they just landing them from somewhere and then selling them back off? Because that's going to be the big difference. I could land a bunch of stuff in my aquarium and sell it off within the next 2 or 3 weeks and not really ever have any problems because there's no long-term needs for those shrimp or anything like that. Now, if you're going to make a big investment into some really expensive shrimp, that is what you, as a person, as a hobbyist, or even as like maybe somebody who's trying to become a breeder someday, that's really what you would want to take into account as going like, okay, if I'm trying to emulate what these other little companies are doing, you're probably not going to see a lot of success with this really small water volume, like a whole bunch of small tanks and things like that. And that's why I've transitioned out of having a bunch of small tanks, you know, is that I prefer to have these bigger systems that are way more stable, way more able to do breeding projects like high-end shrimp instead of going that I will end up essentially having a situation where I can breed another big colony again. Ryan Charlesworth saying a lot of people use 20 longs and 40 breeders. I get it. A lot of people do that. A lot of companies, a lot of breeders, but unless you're willing to set up like hundreds of breeding tanks, it's just not going to work as a person. Unless you just want 140 breeder and you want to put them all in there. But that, as I was saying, like, a perfect example would be, you know, like Flip Aquatics with all the small tanks and stuff like that. He's constantly making RO water. He's making all this stuff, and then he's setting up his aquariums, which is fine. But as somebody who's like just trying to do some work in your house or whatever, or in your garage or something like that, you want to set something up for long-term victory, right? You know, and in my personal experience, you guys know I had a huge crystal shrimp colony, and I would sell them off all the time, okay? Now, I'm not saying, did I make $1 million? Did I have a giant company or anything like that? No, but it paid for my hobby, right? And would I like to be in that position again? Oh yeah, I would definitely like to be in that position again. As you guys can see, there's plenty of cherry shrimp breeding in here. There's a lot of them around. They get freaked out when rocks come flying in from the sky, right? But it's really one of those things that, you know, there are a lot of people that would argue against it because they're like, look, here's what this company does. But, you know, another example would be like Seagrass Farms in Florida. Like, they have a lot of tanks outside. I don't have any tanks outside right now because I wouldn't be able to do crystal shrimp outside. But somebody in Florida would probably be able to do crystal shrimp outside. Whoever was telling me the other day that I should get a paintbrush for cleaning my scape, there you go. I do that normally. But, you know, it's like if we try to look at companies and go like, that's what I'm going to do, it probably isn't necessarily going to work as like independent individual hobbyists, right? So I feel like the example that I'm giving right here from my experience would be a better experience for somebody that, as a hobbyist, if you were trying to get into, say, breeding your own colony or breeding your own shrimp, whether it be Neocaridinus, whether it be crystal shrimp or straight up Caridinus, you know, Reely shrimp, whatever you're going for, that this would be kind of the best layout that you can go for. I know a 150 is a little bit of a weird aquarium for most people out there, but a 75, a 90, something along those lines would actually work really well, and would be a great way to, you know, just as a person that was trying to get an aquarium and get a shrimp colony going, this would be the way that I would recommend. And you know, oftentimes people say put your money where your mouth is. Like, this is me putting my money where my mouth is. This is where my shrimp are going to go. So I would say that you know, it's like, take my advice with a grain of salt, but this is exactly what I'm doing. So it's me actually practicing my own advice, right? I know that sometimes I don't practice all of the advice I give out to people. You know, sometimes I forget to look both ways when I cross the street. Hopefully I never get run over, but you know what I mean. It's a good idea to look both ways across, you know, before you cross the street. You know what I'm saying? So, what's the word I'm looking for here? So this is actually me, like, going like, hey, here's my advice, and then here's me actually doing it. So, you know, and that's definitely where a lot of my fish tank funds are going, is into setting up this aquarium, you know. Bracken is asking, is that Sterigine repens? Yes, it is Sterigine, however you want to say it. Repens. In the front here, along with some Crips, some Monte Carlo, which is a never-ending battle for me, you guys. And Mellow Moogle actually noticed the spatula tool. It's still a useless tool. I should have just used my hand. That was the assessment after moving some of that substrate with it. It's just totally useless. See, I just went back to using my hand because that little spatula thing is completely useless. Yeah, I found a use for the doohickey tootle waddler, whatever it's called. Yeah. Barbara Jackson says, if I was to do it again, I would have 4 large tanks rather than 8 small tanks, and rather just have 4 large tanks. Yeah, that's pretty much what boiled down for me as being, you know, as being a hobbyist that's breeding, that's essentially like putting myself in a position to start breeding the same way I was before, maintaining large colonies and stuff. That's the recommendation I would give to most people. It is pretty tedious, and and difficult to have a bunch of small aquariums and be trying to line breed very specific things. Could essentially be just a huge pain, realistically. Let's see. He'll get to it. We're trying to get his guppies romancing him and giving him good advice, and he's ignoring us. It doesn't matter how much I sing to these guppies; they're already pregnant. She just needs to give. She just needs to give birth. Typo negative is one of my favorites. Oh yeah. With your prep, Zach's tank's a crazy aquarium guy. What's up, Zach? With your prep work and the Seattle water being soft, you're going to have amazing crystal shrimp in there. Yeah, with my experience in raising crystal shrimp, I think they'll work fine. They'll work out fine. It's just a matter, I got a source where I'm going to get them from. Nathaniel John says, I just discovered my beta will eat bloodworms straight out of my tweezers. Maybe I should try hand feeding next time. Yes, if you have a beta, start hand feeding them. It is awesome. You get them to jump through hoops. You get them to do all sorts of crazy stuff. They'll come eat right out of your hand. Shelby Ray Lane is asking, Seachem safe versus Prime. Who was asking? James Nisham was asking, what's the best dechlorinator? I use Seachem Safe. I don't use Prime anymore. It's just, Prime's just too expensive. But I also often use my charcoal pre-filter before adding the water to the tank, which grabs a lot of the chloramines and stuff like that. But I generally use Safe these days. That's just basically all I ever do. Zach's Tank's Crazy Aquarium guy saying, have you ever kept koi? Yes, I have kept koi before. I will be getting some koi for basically the pond project that'll be going on back here. I'm going to be raising koi instead of feeder fish, like tilapia or anything like that. It's actually going to be koi. Marybeth Mabe, I will be overjoyed and happy when I can get my finances together to set up a 30-gallon so I can get more fish and plants. I only have one 10-gallon planted tank with dirt now. Well, I look forward to that. I wish Marybeth was closer. I have a 30-gallon. You could have it. Believe it or not, I have a 30-gallon glass tank of the breeder size. It's a super rare size tank these days. It's a super cool, like, dimensionally. I would definitely, I would give that to you, Mary Beth. Let's see. What's going on? Melissa Coleman says, I've seen people use the spatula to scrape their glass. Still pretty useless. I use it to long-distance squish baby snails. Aw, them baby snails, man. Squishing all them snails. But I have acrylic tanks, so it would be terrible to use a metal thing to scrape the aquarium. That would be a bad idea. Unless I wanted to have a bunch of scratches in it. Let's see here. Alex Rorabeck says, I wish I had room for big tanks. I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment, and my biggest tank is a 60 cube. Pretty lucky I even have room for as many as I do. 3 10s, 29, 40 breeder, and a 60 cube. 10, 20, 30, 60, 100. You could easily get rid of all of those small tanks and put a 100-gallon in because you already have that much. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You could get like a 90. Yeah. But yeah, don't worry. You know, I started out with just a bunch of small tanks too. I lived in an apartment and I couldn't put a whole bunch of stuff in it. But I just had a ton of nano tanks, 10-gallon tanks, 20-gallon tanks, 30-gallon tanks, 40-gallon tanks, cubes, bow fronts, all sorts of stuff. I ran all those nano tanks because I lived in an apartment. And that was essentially the best way to do it. If I was going to have a bunch of tanks, a lot of scaping space, I needed to have a bunch of small tanks because anytime, you know, the landlord or whatever would like get super upset or whatever, I go like, dude, go measure them. Because every single tank I had was an 8-gallon, right? Well, all the small ones I had were all 8-gallon ones, because they were going like, yeah, you can't have this many fish tanks in here. And I said, well, you know, in the rules here, it says you can't have more than 2 aquariums over 10 gallons. But I was like, all these other ones are under 10 gallons, so I don't know what you're talking about. These are just vases, fancy square vases. So on a technicality, they were kind of mad at me, but they were like, well, that's the thing you signed up for, so I guess it's our fault for letting you sign that lease. But so I did a ton of nano tanks. Plus, I really love nano tanks. I think they're a ton of fun to do those small little nano tanks. But one of the big things is they I don't know, it just kind of wore on me, and I'd rather do big colony raising and stuff like that. And the water fluctuations for big colony breeding, you know, I could put like 1,000 shrimp in a nano tank, but the water fluctuations is what will kill them off, you know. T.L. Powell, 2010, was asking thoughts on how to euthanize fish humanely. I've read mixed stuff on ethanol and freezing them. I wouldn't do ethanol or freezing them, but Savannah Morrow says clove oil is far the most tried and humane method. That is true. I'd agree with that opinion. Clove oil seems to be the best way to euthanize a fish if you have to. Sad fact of life sometimes that you do have to do that, but if you were going to euthanize a fish, that's the way I would do it. Next year they changed the apartment agreement. Yes, they did, Tampa Tom. They did try to change the agreement on me by raising my rent. Every 60 days, they would raise my rent. The maximum amount that they could, legally. So that's what they did. That's how they changed the agreement on me, is they just kept saying I had to keep paying more money every month. And I was like, what? Y'all must be tripping. And I moved away. Because I was like, I gotta go. I got another thing to do somewhere else. Kid you not, tiny apartment in Fremont, Washington. $1,600 a month is what they were up to by the time I left. I don't know. They probably would have kept going. I know that the upstairs apartment, they had raised it all the way to $2,800 a month. But I was on the bottom floor, so I was getting, air quote, a break from them. But they didn't feel like refunding any of the money when I moved there, when it was ghetto. When I moved there, it was ghetto art district area. And then by the time I left, it's a super fancy area, you know. Like a whole bunch of new money moved in, you know, and schnazzed it up. So really one of those things where it was like, dude, where's my money from supporting this area when it was not so good? Yeah. Yeah, $1,600. I moved out. I was like, no, I'm not paying you people that. I moved out because I could rent a house for that much further away in the ghetto. Licks Nibble says, yep, I was at $1,500 in Ballard for a 1-bedroom. And those of you from around the world, Ballard and Fremont are right next to each other. So Licks Nibble's actually one of my old neighbors. Too expensive down in there, and it was crazy. But that's how they got me to get rid of my aquariums, because I moved away. Let's see here. Randy Hightower says, it's a super bummer that Tacoma is the affordable place to live along the I-5 corridor. It really isn't that cheap. It's just less than everywhere north and south. Actually, I live in Tacoma, and I really like it here. I really enjoy the area. I enjoy the people. And I really dig living here. With you know, one of the main reasons I might not like it as much if I wasn't living here, living and working and doing all the things with Victoria. I might not like it as much. So I understand if other people maybe don't like the area that I live in. I get it. I understand. But wherever I go, Victoria comes with me, so it's pretty darn nice. So I understand if people don't like Tacoma. I get it. But Vicky's here with me, and that makes me happy. So I would be anywhere probably and be fine. Oh, and Vicky comes right back right when I'm talking about her. Okay, well, whatever. Sneaky. Her ears must have been burning. Matthew Waybright, what's up, man? Long time no see. Let's see. Barbara Jackson says, MS-22 isn't clove oil, but it is an anesthetic anesthesium. Spelling? And will euthanize a fish if you use enough. I've never used MS-22, but I have heard that thrown around before. Clove oil is actually really easy to get a hold of in Western Washington. Go to like one of the Whole Food stores or whatever, you can find it. You don't have to go to a pet store or anything like that. Oh, Alex Rohrbeck living in Toronto. Apparently house prices are crazy there too. It's Spadoinkle in Phoenix. 3,000 square foot house in Phoenix with a ground pool is $250,000. Pacific Northwest is too expensive. It's also 140 million degrees in Arizona during the summertime, and there are no jobs there. So that's an issue, right? Alyssa Bentley says, I'm planning on buying a house in Tacoma at the end of 2018. I would hurry that up. If you got a plan to buy a house somewhere around down in Tacoma where I live, I would hurry up your timeline because they're just getting more expensive. I would try and find something to get in real quick because they've just been going up and up and up and up. And it's just getting better and better down here. And one of the big issues I would remind people is that if you're looking to buy by the end of 2018, all of the I-5 freeway project is going to be complete by June of 2018. So we really only have about 3.5 months, 4 months maybe, before all of the freeway projects are completed down here, which means the house prices down here are going to skyrocket once the freeway project is finished. So I would keep that in mind. If you're looking to buy a house down here, get on it and figure out how to expedite that process a little bit because it could cost you a lot in the long run. But I love the area down here. I love being here. But so I think one of the dogs farted. I don't know what that smell is. What is that? Bizarro. Mr. Science Geek is here. What is up? You actually came up when we were down in Portland. They were saying that Mr. Science Geek would be a great Real Fish Talk guest. And they were like, yeah, Mr. Science Geek's got his whole classroom hooked on fish tanks and stuff like that. And it was like, he'd be a great guest for the Real Fish Talk. And I was like, yes, that actually would be a great guest. And then I was like, oh, he must like live in Western Washington or something. And they were like, no, I think he lives in Kentucky or something or whatever. Not to say where you specifically live or something, or North Carolina, whatever. Who knows? I was like, oh, okay. Well, shoot, we got to try and get a school teacher to fly out to Western Washington. Okay, but if it works out and you actually ever are in the Pacific Northwest, it would be awesome for you to come out and be on the Real Fish Talk. It's an open invitation. I don't know if I've ever noticed you in the chat before. He's got the Spadoinkle song. That's fantastic. Randy Hightower, didn't mean to not to knock on just how expensive it is to live outside of Tacoma. Yeah, cost of living is going up and up and up and up. Yes, that's right, Randy. But I do like it here. I love it in the Northwest, but I will. Our long-term goal is to move away from here someday. I don't know when. But that is our goal. Mellow Moogle says, oh, wow, YouTube does not like that link. Yeah, I was saying that earlier. YouTube wasn't liking a link I was trying to post into the chat, which 162 people here. I'm actually going to post it into the description of the video, and it will be the link right below the thing that says you want to help support. Here's a link you can use. Okay, because I don't think Aquarium Co-op is in the chat anymore, so I can probably talk about this for a second without, you know, having him be tripping. But there will be a link in the description down below that that is a link that sends you to the Aquarium Co-op. Okay, and there's a link that will send you to the Aquarium Co-op that is basically a hot link that says I sent you. Okay, so it is a hot link that I sent to you, or that's down there, that will send you to the Aquarium Co-op. Okay, and it'll send you over there, and it'll say that I sent you. So if you were gonna go there and buy like some new lights or something like that, then we would it basically would just say I'm gonna buy something, or that I sent you to go buy something that you are going to buy. So if you guys want to do that, you can. You don't have to, but I just want to make it like whatever kind of weird little pitch or whatever it is, that like if you want to support me, it will say that like I'm the one that sent you over there, and I'd be the one that sent you over there, right? And then somebody like Corey could go, oh wow, people were sent over. I don't know. I don't even know what'll happen. But if you want to use it, you can. If not, no big deal. The Turtle Girls here, Pacific Northwest, is beautiful, though. We have everything: the mountains, the oceans, the forest, the city, the temperate weather. LOL. Guppy Guru is asking, why are things being deleted? Because we monitor the chat here, and we delete things that need to be deleted. That's why. So, yeah. And then, yeah, the temperature, the city, the environment, everything here is fantastic, but the prices are just getting too expensive for standard people. Just for standard people to just be trying to live here. It's a little bit crazy. Frank Dominguez says Sejol sent you, and they'll hike up the prices. yeah. It's not like a discount or anything like that. But if you're going over there to just buy some Easy Green or something like that, you can go through that link if you like. If you don't have to. And you know, just the usual sales pitch here before the last 10 minutes of the show. Is that you can go to the Patreon if you like, and you can support through the Patreon. You can always hit the like button. You can hit the share. You can buy things through the Amazon deal on Darkstar Arts, which is my website. You can go look at pictures and paintings and all that kind of stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you guys for your support. Especially thank you for super chats today. Jeez, the zombie drummer's trying to break the button on Valentine's Day, but not to be discluding Spencer Ballard, Michael Faulkner, and Wichita Falls Fitchkeeper. Okay, so now we're running into the last couple minutes here. We're going to start doing some lightning rounds. So if you have a question, try to get it in now, and then we'll try to get it... I'm going to answer them as quickly as I can here for the last little bit. Let's see here. Try to scroll back up so I can go up here. Barbara Jackson says, yep, my kids can only live here because of my father-in-law's forward thinking. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Science Geek says, if I type this in chat, do I look like a rebel? Only been deleted in chat one time when I said I haven't ever seen Star Wars. You should watch Star Wars. They're just a great film. But, you know, if you're busy doing teacher stuff, then maybe you're just too busy for it. You know? You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's see. Itch Bedoinkle says he's never seen Star Wars, but he can quote Cannibal, the musical. He's all right. Yes, you can get a pass. You can get a pass. I would watch Star Wars just so you know what's going on. You know what I mean? It's just like kind of one of those things like you should just contemporarily know what's going on within some of the society, like just kind of knowing what's happening in the nomenclature, right? Let's see here. I'm a huge fan of film, so I've seen a lot of movies. I typically will fit one in at the end of my day if I have time. A lot of times I don't, but oftentimes I'll work, and then like we sit down for dinner and something, and we'll watch a movie right before we go to bed or something like that. So I like watching movies, you know, staying contemporary. You know, it's kind of one of my things. Plus, I like film, and I like to watch film. I like to make film too. I'm kind of terrible at it, but hopefully we'll get better and better. You know, as the super chats came in today, it's all about either trying to get to Peru or trying to get a new camera. That's my main goal. That's what's happening. So that's what is going on. All right, let's see what kind of. Barbara Jackson says favorite black sand, fluorite. Black sand is my favorite black sand. As a matter of fact, it's in that 150 gallon that I was scaping today. It's in there mixed in with the ADA and the fluorite, the Fluval stratum. Itch Bedoinkle is asking, how many shrimps do you have? Far too many. Because I actually noticed that I have not only shrimp in the 240 sump, but I also have shrimp living in the 240 display now. They're spreading like cucarachas. They're in the 150 and the 240 now, and in the display. I haven't been eaten yet. They're doing pretty darn good. They're breeding like crazy. Turtle Girl is asking if Mr. Science Geek has seen The Lord of the Rings, and the answer was only the first one, but lost his interest. Good golly, Miss Molly, watch The Lord of the Rings. Come on now. Alex Rohrbeck, hey Joel, had my tank crash overnight. It was very cloudy. I didn't have time to test, but did 100% water change before I went to work. Came home and everything was fine. Any ideas about what happened? It sounds like you had a bacterial bloom, and if that's the case and all you did was a water changes, it will probably come back. I would diagnose and find out what's going on, because it will probably come back if you just all you did was a giant water change. Freshman Aquatic says disengage lurk mode. Oh, well, you could disengage, you can re-engage. It's all good. Our concurrent today was, I have no idea, 183. Wow, we're going backwards, you guys. That's not good, but it is Valentine's Day, so who knows what happens. Who knows what goes on Valentine's Day. I don't know how many people are supposed to be here or not. I will remind people at the end of the show here, if we ever get to 1,000 live viewers, someone from the chat will win a commission piece from me. Someone will win a painting once we get to if we get to 1,000 live viewers. Whenever that happens, I will freak out and act like it was the word of the day on Pee Wee Herman, and then we will throw up a 3-digit number. I'm going to write down a 3-digit number, and then I will give away to whoever's in the chat and gets the 3-digit number correct first, or whatever, or however I do it, like that. It will be like that, whoever's in the chat. So remember to share the show out. Try to get some more people in and get in here, and let's try and grow the Fish Fam stuff and keep rocking and rolling. Let's see. Nisi says, gasp, they're saying there's such a thing as too many shrimps. Well, I was only jesting. You know what I mean? I was only a jest. But you know, people are asking, how do you get like a giant blue shrimp painting like that one over there? That's how we could get it. We get up to 1,000. Somebody could get one for free. You know what I'm saying? So Phil Emerson says you will get the camera and Peru. I don't know if we'll actually get to Peru or not, but Friday I'll go down. We're actually going down to redo the passport situation. So we're getting our passports figured out on Friday this week. So that's going to be pretty fun, I guess. Maybe when I go to the government stuff. Bummer. Shelby Ray Lane asks, with all of the things, how do you find time to sleep? When it's time to go to sleep, I go to sleep. That's just how I do it. I just try to keep my day as structured as possible and go to sleep when it's time and get up when it's time and just do it that way. And whatever gets done, and whatever doesn't get done gets done the next day or the next day or the next. It seems to kind of go on forever, right? Let's see here. Pork Slinger says, just got a dozen cherry shrimp yesterday. First time with shrimp. About 1/4 inch now. What's the time frame before they start breeding? About 2 months out. If they're only 1/4 inch. So it's pretty small. How many CPD are you going to get for the other big aquarium? From Zach's Tanks, a crazy aquarium guy. I'm going to try and get 300 for the 240 of the Celestial Pearl Danios, also known as Galaxy Rasboras, or the Danio Margarita. So that'll be probably 300. 200, maybe? 150? Really kind of depends on the price and if we have to import them. If we have to import them, then that's probably going to cost a couple extra more bucks. So it's going to just kind of be the budget, but I would like to get a lot in there, as many as I could fit. Devin Parkinson saying, hey, Joel, first time catching you live. Right on. Thanks for coming out. Devin Parkinson says, again, oh my God, the time difference, lol, it's almost 8 o'clock. Yes, it is 5:01 p.m. here, coming up on the end of the show. We actually kind of started a little bit late, but we'll just kind of cut it off here because it's after 5. A lot of people dropping out, bunch of people leaving. Let's see what our concurrent was today. Yeah, not that great. 180. Oh, Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, you're always messing with everybody. But everybody have a fantastic time out there. This will upload as a video, so once this uploads as a video, if you guys feel like you wanted to like and share it out, I would appreciate it. You can always go and check it out, and it would be totally great. Savannah Morrow says, I have to set a time to put stuff down because I will obsess and work through the night, so bedtime has to be bedtime, period. Yep, that's really the thing for me. I can push it till 10:30, but Vicky lays down at 9:30, and I gotta get in there for bed, and it is Vicky time. So time to go hang out with my lady, and we're going to have some fun tonight going to the vet. I'm going to take Mr. Chips to the vet and make sure that he's doing hunky-dory, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic Valentine's Day. If you don't know how to sing, you can just sing like me and go, Valentine's Day, oh, it's Valentine's Day. That's right, times. Valentine's. Valentine's Day for you is Valentine's Day for me. Happy Valentine's Day to all and everybody.